My question right now, which role do Arab Jews play right now? I mean, let's say from 10 years till now, right now in historical Palestine. Because you have said they were ignored, their identity was destroyed, and they were, yeah,
They
very
were
miserable,
mistreated.
miserable life. So now those people, they are hundred thousands, millions. So what are their roles right now? I mean, in the last years till now, which role do they play? You said they were middle class. They didn't face, for example, anti-Semitism like in Europe. So their role right now, and they are a very big community.
Yeah, they're a
Right
big
now.
community.
In historical, I'm not focusing on Israel because there is different in as a term scientifically. I mean in historical Palestine. Which role do they play right now?
Right. You have to think, if in 1950 to 1960, this is a decade where they come from North Africa, from West Asia and Arabia. These are the places they come from. They are, because their culture was destroyed, because they were not allowed, and they were proud Arabs, yeah? They were not allowed to live their culture, to speak their language, to use their music. When we talk about culture, we talk about food, we talk about books, we talk about everything.
And these things, Ella Shohat in her article, Invention of Mizrahim, she was talking how they were Arab Jews listening to Layla Murad, to Egyptian songs, and film, to all, and they were deprived. But right now,
Farid el-Atrash, so this was their culture. But this culture was not available anymore. It was degraded. So what they developed is a great hatred of the of the Ashkenazi control. Why not? Because they were mistreated so badly. They felt they were badly treated. For example, if people come from middle class, they were doctors, they were lawyers, they were intellectuals, and they are given work to mend the road. That's the most that they got. They don't like doing it. Okay? We're academics. If we ended up in another country and all we will get is cleaning toilets, we might not like it. Yeah, we might think that this is not a good use of our gifts and our abilities. That's what happened to them. So they became very negatively inclined towards, quite rightly, I think they were totally right. And therefore, they could not partake in society fully until maybe now. We're talking about almost 70 years. It's a long time. So they were, they developed all kind of movements of protest movements, yeah, like the Black Panthers and so on, that were saying, you are mistreating us, you are racist, you are not allowing us our culture, you're not allowing us to celebrate the Mimuna in a Moroccan way, you are forcing us not to speak our language, and so on. So there was a lot of tension between those two communities, and that tension is there today. So today, of course, they moved further. In 70 years, you don't stand still. So they are now a lower middle class.
Low middle class.
A low middle class in the sense that the people below them are Palestinians and Ethiopians. The Palestinians are the working class of Israel and in Palestine, of course, because they build the settlements, for example. Who builds the settlements? Jews? You must be joking, yeah? Who mends the roads? Who is working in, in the farms, yeah? Growing the food. It's not the Ashkenazis, and it's not the Arab Jews. So the Arab Jews are now a lower middle class, independent artisans. Not many of them run the economy. Not many of them run the legal system. Not many of them run the financial system.
And in the army?
In the army, I'll come to the army in a minute. Not many of them are in high tech. And that, you talk to any group of youngsters here, a lot of them are now working in high tech. A lot of them are working with AI, a lot of them are working with computers. That's not the case with a lot of the Mizrahi Jews. In other words, the good, growing echelons of society are more difficult for them because they come from a background of lack of education, because they came in Iraq or in Egypt or in Morocco, they were very well educated. They came to Israel and they didn't get the education that they needed because they were there in the desert, so or very isolated small villages that could not really grow the food because these people were not peasants. They didn't come from a peasantry background. So they really didn't make good peasants themselves. So they somehow got into the lower middle class because there was a regime of correction. Yeah? There was a regime of correction for political reasons because it's a big group. At one point in time, they were majority of the population, about 60%. So you can't really take 60% and squeeze them all the time and keep them happy. You can't. So they were gradually getting into positions, not to the top, but at the bottom. And this is where they are today. The economy, the academy, the medicine, industry, science, finance, the army was run by the elite from Europe, okay, that built the country. The army is a very good case. A lot of the Mizrahi Jews did not want to go to the army.